Most people stumble through life, prisoners to worry and uncertain outcomes. But what if, for one day, you lived as if everything always works out? Few realize how their silent fears and unseen doubts shape every decision, distorting reality with anxiety over what might never be. You grip plans tightly, fight against uncertainty, and in doing so, drain your own power. All the while, fate marches on, untouched by your worry. The Stoics teach, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has," said Epictetus. This wisdom is not passive optimism, but fierce acceptance, a strength born from trusting the process, trusting yourself. Why let doubt rule your day? Why surrender to the invisible cage of habit and expectation? Behind every frustration lies the silent belief that things should be different. When you act as if everything always works out, you break that chain. You focus on your response, not the result. You make choices anchored in courage, not fear. Few discover this quiet freedom, but those who do find peace within chaos. Will you act with that conviction now? Will you live, as the Stoics urge, with faith that every trial is a turning point? The results you seek begin the moment you truly believe it. 1. The power of assumption and belief. In the silent corridors of our minds, assumptions form the architecture of our lives. The ancient Stoics, from Marcus Aurelius to Epictetus, reminded us that we are disturbed not by events, but by the views which we take of them. Our expectations act as an invisible hand, bending the trajectory of our days not by force of circumstance, but by the quiet persistence of belief. Consider the lives of legends Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie. Their success was not the offspring of idle hope or wishful daydreams, but the unwavering conviction that their vision would become reality. Ford, derided for his obsession with the motor car, did not waver when faced with skepticism or mockery. His belief lived silently within him, undaunted by public doubt, steadfast as a mountain against the winds of uncertainty. Edison, after thousands of failed trials, pressed onward in darkness, certain that each failure whispered the approach of triumph. Carnegie, born into poverty, saw in every hardship the silent spark of future fortune. These men did not merely wish or hope, they acted boldly as if their success had already occurred, forging outcomes with unyielding intention. Life, for each of us, bends to our predominant assumptions. Within families, a parent who believes in the innate potential of their child nurtures confidence quietly, often altering the very destiny of the child more than any spoken encouragement could. In the workplace, an employee certain of their own worth often becomes the backbone of the team, inspiring silent admiration and trust. Among friends, one who expects loyalty and kindness tends to cultivate it through every subtle gesture, like the gentle, steady light that fosters a plant's growth. Even in matters of love, partners who carry the expectation of mutual respect and understanding breathe those very qualities into the relationship, the silent agreements that outlast all declarations. This principle extends to society. Individuals who carry assumptions of scarcity and exclusion see barriers everywhere. Those who assume abundance and possibility notice doors where walls once stood. The collective mood of a community often arises from these shared silent expectations, giving rise to cultures of hope or defeat long before events have unfolded. Stoic wisdom urges us to become the guardians of our own mental citadels. Belief, in this context, is not mere hope. It is a deliberate architecture, built brick by brick in the silent hours. To believe is to anchor oneself to a deeper truth, to walk through the uncertainties of work, friendship, and love with a calm assurance. As William James wrote, "Belief creates the actual fact." Each day, with every silent affirmation, we shape the very reality we inhabit. For those seeking transformation, the invitation is simple yet profound. Tend to your assumptions as a gardener tends the soil. Choose carefully the beliefs you cultivate, for with time, they shape not only your character, but the destiny of your family, your work, your friendships, and ultimately, your world. The silent power of assumption and belief is the foundation from which all change grows. 2. Purpose and definiteness. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world is silent and the mind unburdened by the day's noise, a single question echoes, "What am I here to do?" This is not a question for dreamers, but for builders, those who seek not just to exist, but to leave a mark, to shape their reality with deliberation. The Stoics taught that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Yet it is the hue of purpose that most deeply stains the fabric of one's life. Within every family, there is someone who holds themselves with an unspoken gravity, a mother who rises each day to nurture her children with the intention not just to raise, but to guide. A father who toils in silent labor, not merely to earn, but to instill strength, character, and hope. Their lives carry a silent power, not because of circumstance, but because purpose flows beneath each action, like an underground river, persistent, unseen, yet essential. This same force distinguishes leaders in the boardroom, those who do not simply chase quarterly gains, but shape their organizations with visionary clarity. Definite purpose becomes their compass, their silent North Star, guiding every decision, from whom they hire to how they weather storms. Without definiteness, life is scattered, energy dispersed, spirit diluted, direction lost. Many drift through routines, haunted by silent regrets, because their aims remain vague, their why unspoken. But history remembers those who fix their gaze on the horizon and walk with conviction. Michelangelo, when asked about the secret behind the David, replied, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." Such clarity is not reserved for geniuses. It begins with the courage to write one's purpose, to summon it each morning, and to weigh choices against its standard. In friendship, purpose grounds loyalty. A friend who stands beside you in crisis knows why the bond matters, and that silent understanding turns fleeting acquaintance into lifelong kinship. In love, purpose transforms fleeting passion into enduring partnership. Couples who share a mission outlast storms, for their unity is built not on passing emotion, but on the bedrock of shared intention. In society, those with purpose become beacons amid uncertainty. In the face of injustice, it is often the voice with a clear mission that rallies others to hope and action. Consider Nelson Mandela, who spent decades in silent endurance, his purpose unbroken. His words inspire. Everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated to and passionate about what they do. True purpose is more than a fleeting wish. It is a living contract with oneself. It survives adversity, adapts through seasons, and demands not perfection but persistence. Write yours. Speak it before your thoughts wander each day. Let every act silent or thunderous bend toward that single luminous sentence. For in purpose, life finds its silent clarity, and in definiteness, even an ordinary soul is forged into something everlasting. 3. Faith is built through repetition. Faith, in the Stoic tradition, is not a fleeting emotion or the thunderous call of hope during moments of desperation. It is born in the silent dawn, in that quiet space when we lace our shoes for another day's journey, unseen by the world, guided only by a conviction slowly cemented through daily practice. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In this wisdom lies the secret. Faith is shaped by what you do, not just what you claim to believe. In daily life, subtle routines shape destinies. The father who rises every silent morning before the sun, making coffee as his children sleep, is weaving faith into the fabric of his family's future. He shows up to work with diligence, not because the world is watching, but because through repetition he has forged a discipline that makes reliability his second nature. These silent acts, repeated day after day, chisel away at uncertainty, revealing the quiet strength of character. Consider the journey of K. Rowling. Long before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she faced rejection after rejection. Yet, every silent morning, she returned to her manuscript, line after line, a living testament to faith built through repetition and self-affirmation. Her story is echoed in the lives of athletes, musicians, and everyday heroes whose mastery comes not from sporadic bursts of inspiration, but from unrelenting silent devotion to practice. Michael Jordan, regarded as one of the greatest athletes in history, famously missed more than 9,000 shots in his career, losing almost 300 games. "I've failed over and over and over again in my life," he reflected, "and that is why I succeed." His faith in himself did not arise magically. It was carved out through relentless repetition and the silent vow to improve, one shot at a time. The mind, much like the body, is trained through habit. Modern neuroscience confirms what the ancients intuited. The subconscious mind does not simply accept truth, but adopts what is rehearsed repeatedly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle observed, and with each silent repetition, your identity shifts. This principle is critical in a world saturated with noise and distraction. The person who chooses to speak words of encouragement every morning, or writes a silent affirmation on their bathroom mirror, begins to reprogram their sense of self, no matter the outer chaos. Let us turn this lens to relationships. In marriage, trust is not built by grand declarations, but by silent, consistent acts of kindness and integrity, day after day. In friendship, loyalty is tested and proven through 1,000 silent moments, the uncelebrated gestures, the calls returned, the shoulders offered in crisis, again and again. In a society rushing toward quick results, the Stoic reminds us, faith in oneself, in others, in life itself, is earned in the silent repetition of courageous acts. Write your daily affirmations. Replace unworthy habits with chosen behaviors. Repeat in silence until belief transforms into certainty. Thus, faith becomes less a dream and more a living reality, quietly built day by day, until it stands as strong and unshakable as a mountain. 4. Burn the bridges, no retreat. True change begins not with a whisper of comfort, but with the silent echo of a resolved heart. There come moments when a person must draw a line, leaving behind the echoes of indecision, burning the bridges to the past, so that only forward motion remains. Julius Caesar, standing on the shore of the Rubicon, ordered his men to cross, declaring, "The die is cast." In one irrevocable act, every avenue of retreat was severed. The only path left was ahead. Such moments of no return are the birthplace of true transformation. In the fabric of ordinary life, the same principle pulses. A mother, enduring years in a toxic relationship, makes the silent choice to protect her dignity and children, and walks away, her strength not found in grand declarations, but in her refusal to consider going back. An employee, stagnant for years, hands in a resignation, leaving behind the familiar misery to pursue a dream. With each silent act, a bridge is burned, security exchanged for the prospect of authentic living. This is not the recklessness of abandoning responsibilities, but rather the courage to pursue what matters with all reserves committed. As Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." The silent act of burning bridges is a declaration of faith in oneself, a signal to the mind that options for retreat have vanished, and the struggle ahead is now the only option. Society often conditions us to keep an escape route, an extra job offer lined up, a safety net in love, an excuse ready if things go wrong. Yet those who have reshaped history and their own lives knew the power of silent finality. Steve Jobs, ousted from a company he created, built something new rather than slip quietly into the shadows. Nelson Mandela, after 27 years in prison, emerged with no retreat to bitterness or vengeance, only the resolve to seek reconciliation, burning the bridge to the temptations of old enmities. Each chose to cut away the past, leaving only the road ahead illuminated. In friendships, there are moments when the silent betrayal of trust cannot be glossed over. Choosing integrity, burning the bridge of toxic company, actually forges self-respect. In love, some choose to let go, not out of hatred, but because retreat into complacency would mean a lifetime of regret. Burning the bridges means living with the courage to face uncertainty, placing trust in purpose and ability, not silent fears. It is a call to action. As Winston Churchill firmly put it, "If you're going through hell, keep going." When retreat is no longer a choice, forward becomes not just a direction, but a destiny. Set your purpose, make your break, and let transformation unfold in the silent, unyielding strength that comes only when all roads lead ahead. 5. The power of environment. Every person's journey is profoundly shaped, not just by their intentions, but by the silent currents flowing through their environment. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The energy of our circle, those we choose to walk with day by day, finds its way into our thoughts, convictions, and, eventually, our destinies. Across history and in daily life, meaningful transformation rarely happens alone. The silent influences of our surroundings mold the architecture of our minds. In family, a child whose efforts are celebrated grows to carry silent confidence that outlasts hardship. In work, leaders who gather committed, purpose-driven people soon discover that collective wisdom multiplies far beyond what any individual could accomplish. Every conversation, every glance, every shared problem silently adds to the collective momentum. This phenomenon is not just theory. Consider the Mastermind Alliance, a concept popularized by Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. Henry Ford's fabled success, for instance, did not rest solely on his drive. Behind the scenes, he regularly consulted with peers like Thomas Edison and Harvey Firestone. Their silent exchanges, strategic, supportive, challenging, became the real motor behind his innovations. This alliance, bound by trust and common purpose, became a silent sanctuary for ideas to take root and flourish. In the modern world, this truth is more urgent than ever. If you wish to stay faithful to your purpose and weather life's storms, select your companions with care. Cultivate friendships where honest counsel is exchanged and growth is celebrated. In love, a partnership built on shared values and mutual encouragement kindles silent strength during trials. Within society, Seek or build communities, formal or informal, where voices blend to amplify courage, hold each other accountable, and drive collective resilience. Celebrities and changemakers alike echo this truth. Oprah Winfrey credits her silent counsel of confidants for sharpening her vision and steadying her nerve in adversity. Even in moments when the world was watching, it was the silent support behind closed doors that kept her grounded and rising. However, this principle is also a warning. Toxicity and mediocrity, when left unchecked, spread silently within any circle. A workplace poisoned by jealousy and fear soon suffocates ambition. Friendships steeped in cynicism rob energy and clarity. As the old proverb says, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Take this, not as a cliché, but as a strategic insight for life design. The silent gravity of your circle will inevitably pull you toward either greatness or stagnation. To forge lasting transformation, build or join a mastermind alliance. Hold regular, silent councils, be it around a family table, in creative meetings, or with mentors. Find those whose vision, integrity, and diligence inspire you to elevate your own standards. Let their energy, wisdom, and silent encouragement become your invisible armor in facing life's battles. Your environment is never neutral. It sharpens you or makes you dull. In seeking purpose and mastery, remember the silent power of your circle and let it become your strongest foundation. 6. Law of increasing returns, doing more than expected. Excellence is rarely the product of mere obligation. The greatest growth comes to those who willingly give more than their duty requires, who sow in silence, even when applause seems a distant echo. The reward of a thing well done is to have done it, proclaimed Ralph Waldo Emerson, and through such a lens, we come to understand success not as a transaction, but as silent compounding interest built by going consistently beyond what is asked. Within families, the principle reveals itself daily in subtle ways. A parent who listens with full attention, not just out of necessity, but from love, withstanding the fatigue of long days and the challenges that remain silent to those outside the household, nurtures understanding that deepens respect and unity. In friendships, trust is strengthened not by keeping score, but by silent gestures that confirm loyalty and care. The call when times are tough. The sacrifice without broadcast. The extra mile walked quietly beside someone struggling in the dark. At work, careers are transformed by those who show up before the meeting starts, who prepare thoroughly, and who seek out opportunities to contribute beyond their pay grade. Such individuals become the silent pillars of organizations, their reliability noted, even when words fail to acknowledge it. Consider the rise of Howard Schultz, the visionary behind Starbucks. He began not as a chief executive, but as an employee who recognized silent opportunities for innovation and consistency. Repeatedly, he did more than the job description required. Eventually, his willingness to exceed expectations set him apart, and the returns found their way to him in time: greater responsibility, trust, and ultimately, the helm of a global movement. The wisdom of Stoics resounds here. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The best measure of excellence lies not in self-promotion, but in the willingness to let actions, often silent, speak with unwavering consistency. Society tends to praise results, yet the greatest returns accumulate invisibly, in the shadows of extra effort. In love, going the extra mile is the glue that holds devotion through silent trials. A handwritten note, a regular gesture of gratitude, or the steadfastness to choose kindness over indifference. These are the currencies of enduring partnership. Even when no one is watching, especially then, the seeds of upward mobility and personal growth are sown. The law of increasing returns is both practical and philosophical. Energy invested into the world multiplies, often silently, returning in forms we cannot predict: trust, opportunity, respect, and unforeseen doors opening when least expected. This is a call to action, not for empty busyness, but for meaningful, silent over-delivery rooted in self-respect and purpose. The habit of doing more than expected transforms not just reputations, but identities. It is here, in the silent, extra mile, that fate is shaped and greatness quietly takes root. 7. Influence through character. Real influence is not found in showy displays or loud proclamations, but in the silent strength of a person's character. It is felt in the subtle, irresistible pull of someone who acts with calm assurance, radiates genuine optimism, and moves through life with unspoken confidence. Emerson captured it precisely. "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." This is the quiet power that commands trust, loyalty, and sometimes even love, without the need for force or persuasion. Within families, this truth unfolds every day. A parent who meets frustration with silent patience sets a tone for children who learn, often unconsciously, that disputes aren't resolved by raising voices, but by the strength of quiet dignity. At work, those who lead not by title, but through consistent reliability and unwavering fairness, become the silent North Star by which teams navigate. Their presence brings stability during chaos, confidence during doubt, and hope when the horizon darkens. Martin Luther King Jr. His steadfast commitment to nonviolence resonates as the ultimate example of influence through character. He faced hatred and violence with unwavering calm and unbreakable faith, his silent courage inspiring millions to rethink the limits of protest and reconciliation. In the world of business, Warren Buffett is revered not just for his investment genius, but for his transparent honesty and enduring humility. His words carry weight because they are anchored by decades of silent, congruent action. Influence begins with the habits we choose to cultivate in quiet moments. Cicero once said, "Silence is one of the great arts of conversation. The art of listening, transcending the urge to interrupt or impose, reveals both respect and an openness to growth. Speaking thoughtfully, neither grandstanding nor whispering, signals trustworthy confidence. Even body language, the silent signals of a grounded presence or a reassuring smile, conveys substance that words alone cannot transmit. Friendships thrive or wither by such traits. The friend who keeps a secret, offers counsel only when sought, or stands beside you through uncertainty becomes the one whose influence endures. Romantic partnerships, too, rest on small, kind habits: a gentle word, a silent act of service, an unwavering optimism in hard times. Each gesture shapes not only perception, but transforms the silent emotional landscape between two souls. Society itself must contend with the impact of true character. As Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and philosopher, wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." The world's most profound transformations begin with individuals who, through silent example, inspire others to rise above cynicism and despair. To wield real power, cultivate a character that others want to follow, calm under pressure, quietly confident in adversity, sincerely optimistic in conversation, and always genuine. Such influence, born of silent strength, shapes families, friendships, organizations, and even nations, leaving a legacy that endures far beyond words. 8. Repetition replacing old programming. Lasting transformation is less a product of sudden revelation and more the result of steady, silent repetition. Change does not arrive in dramatic waves, but is carved, patiently and quietly, by 1,000 silent drops day after day. Epictetus's wisdom rings clear. No great thing is created suddenly. The process of self-renewal, whether for the individual, the family, or a society, always begins with the humble, repeated act. Within the rhythms of daily life, old programming clings tightly, behaviors baked into us by years of habit, silent beliefs absorbed in childhood, fears whispered to us by families or society at large. The mother who grew up unseen may struggle, unconsciously, to share her voice. The employee who internalized a silent sense of limitation may never raise their hand for opportunity. Couples, bound for decades by unspoken routines, quietly repeat patterns that neither truly enjoys, yet both silently accept. The Stoics teach that choice brings freedom, but discipline makes it real. To install new beliefs, one must embrace daily rituals, a morning moment of gratitude, an evening practice of reflection, a silent affirmation spoken in the heart. These are not grand gestures, but the slow, persistent chiseling away of old limitations. James Clear, in his work on habits, asserts, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Consistency, not intensity, is the silent architect of enduring change. Across the world of the accomplished, the pattern is the same. Serena Williams, well before she was a household name, spent long, silent hours repeating serves and strokes until excellence became second nature. The artist who creates masterpieces is rarely inspired in a burst, but works methodically, coloring outside the lines again and again until a new style emerges. Even in the halls of power, Abraham Lincoln rewrote his own self-doubts through years of deliberate, heartfelt self-examination and humble action. "I am not bound to succeed," Lincoln said, "but I am bound to live up to what light I have." In our own lives, this principle can lift us from stagnation. In families, a single daily act, an honest compliment, a shared meal, a silent moment of gratitude rewires old resentments. In friendships, the habit of showing up, of offering genuine support without expectation, builds trust deeper with each silent repetition than any one grand gesture could achieve. The journey of growth is not about one explosive leap. It is measured in deliberate steps. Let your rituals be small, your affirmations silent, yet steady. Over weeks and months, the mind and heart adapt. Thoughts become easier, actions become natural, and change transforms from effort into identity. As Aristotle concluded, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Begin with silent courage. Repeat, and let the new program become your quiet, unshakable foundation. In the end, life will test your resolve, not with grand declarations, but with the quiet storms no one else sees. Acting as if everything always works out is not blind faith. It is choosing strength over fear, clarity over chaos. It is the Stoic way, to stand tall, calm and unshaken while the world spins in uncertainty. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are responsible for your response, your perspective, your courage. Remember, no outcome defines you. It is your steady mind and unwavering spirit that carve meaning from every moment. Let the world doubt. Let circumstances shift. As a Stoic, your power lies within. Trust the process. Act with purpose. Live as if everything always works out, not because you are naive, but because you have chosen wisdom over worry and mastery over mere survival. This is the quiet revolution. Begin it now.